Does enrolling in a forest carbon program and a forest certification program preclude me from ever harvesting wood on my land?
No, it does not. Pretty simple. No, it does not. It may change the way that harvest looks, what contractors you use. It may change the the dynamics of the actual harvest, but it's for the sustainability purposes. Okay.
Welcome to Forest Matters, a podcast about sustainable forest management, forest carbon development, and the opportunities available to landowners through global carbon markets. Forest Matters is brought to you by NativState, the leading forest carbon development company for small private landowners. Today we are back talking with NativState's Vice President of Forestry, Mr. Tim White, and we're going to spend a little more time speaking specifically about the Forest Stewardship Council, or FSC, as one particular certification program. So tell us a little bit about FSC, Forest Stewardship Council, make sure everybody understands what the acronym is, and what it means for landowners who enroll in a forest carbon program.
So FSC is one of three different certification programs. FSC is the globally recognized of the three. SFI is and ATFS, or Tree Farm, is the other two. So FSC started back in 93, I believe. It is, like I said, a global standard that all persons that are involved with must adhere to, okay? And that sounds pretty easy, okay? But when you think about forests in Brazil, the rainforest here, there, and yonder, overseas in Africa, it covers all those. So it's a pretty broad standard, and it covers a lot more than just managing trees, okay? But FSC is, as they say, the most rigorous, and that kind of scares some landowners off, yeah. I found.
Well, so, but given the conversations that you've been in, with landowners, but certainly with global corporations that are doing due diligence on mm-hmm. forest carbon projects, mm-hmm. Is it fair to say that FSC is the preferred standard? And if so, why?
If it's not, it's becoming that way because it gives those carbon buyers peace of mind, knowing that this overall global standard, if they've got a project in Zimbabwe or Brazil or Arkansas, are all held to the same standard, the same forest certification standard. So it gives them peace of mind, and they're willing to pay a little bit more for it, honestly, because of that peace of mind. But it's a pretty daunting task to be enrolled and to maintain and to get audited and certified and all that has to happen. It's a pretty good expense as well, but it's worth it when it comes time to be in the carbon world.
Yeah, well, so let's talk about an FSC audit.
Okay.
What goes into it, and what have you seen from the audits that have been done on enrolled acres with us so far?
Well, so far, we have had properties enrolled about 2 months, and I've already had one on-site audit and one remote audit, or one by phone. Really, they just want to know what we know. Are we exercising what they use the term operational control? In other words, this landowner can't just go out and willy-nilly do whatever they feel like, whenever they feel like, to their lands. I know that may sound, well, that's the American way, right? Well, true, but in this stewardship program, you are committing to do it a certain way, okay? It's not very limiting, but you are making a commitment, and that commitment is worth something. That's why these global carbon buyers are willing to pay a little extra for it. But yeah, it's the audits are very thorough. They're on site. Like I said, we go to the land, we see, has herbicide been applied? Have they harvested anything? Do they have their boundary lines in place? Are there any threatened or endangered species affected by this? What work did we do to uncover any of those potential high conservation values of that forest?
So you talk about all the various steps that go through. Who bears the costs of being in an FSC program within a forest carbon?
Well, in NativState's program, NativState bears the cost. Now, any general stewardship, you can charge. Somebody could form a group and charge landowners to be in the group, but we've chosen to bear that cost ourselves. We not only pay to FSC our dues, and that we have to hire a certification body that actually certifies our land. It doesn't work for FSC. We hire them independently, and that's a cost. And the annual audit, there's a cost involved with that as well. So it's not cheap. I said, but it's worth it.
Yeah, because it comes back to the landowner in terms of higher carbon credit prices.
Not only higher carbon credit prices, but these credits are sold before they're ever developed.
Right.
You know, as soon as they hit the market, we've got a long-term offtake agreement that says, here, these are our FSC acres with carbon credits, and we've got agreements in place that'll buy them right then. So the landowners, there's no, oh my gosh, I hope they sell these things. You know, how long is it going to take to sell my credits? Because nobody gets paid until something gets sold. So, but this is a pretty good answer to that. They're sold.
Right. So in addition to the fact that, I mean, those are two huge benefits. The credits are already sold and they're selling, generally speaking, for a higher price than you might see otherwise. What other benefits to landowners are there for being in a FSC program?
To me, it demonstrates a pretty high, or actually the highest level of commitment. I manage my land right now. Mine's is actually part of mine's in FSC and part of mine's in tree farm. But it shows that you are really committed and you are very conscientious about. You take it seriously. Your stewardship seriously. It could evolve into being able to sell your wood products when others can't, because today some mills take certain days. They take certified wood, which would be FSC, and other days they take general from everybody. So we could see that, depending upon how the markets go, we could see that increase if more world wood producers got into this market. It's like that other places, but not right here, right now. So that could be a benefit. Just, hey, I want to be able to sell my timber. Well, you're not limited by a quota. You're not limited. Hey, you got FSC wood, they'll take it.
Yeah. And I think that's important for landowners to understand. And again, we've addressed this question before, but I'm going to ask again because I know it comes up all the time. Does enrolling in a forest carbon program and a forest certification program preclude me from ever harvesting wood on my land?
No, it does not. Pretty simple. No, it does not. It may change the way that harvest looks, what contractors you use. It may change the the dynamics of the actual harvest, but it's for the sustainability purposes. Okay. And I'll give you an example. Today in Arkansas, you could, because our BMPs are voluntary, you could go out and cut right up to a stream bank if you were not in a certification program. Well, that's not going to happen, should not happen inside a certification, especially FSC. There's very specific language about maintaining those stream buffers and stream crossings and all the ins and outs of the BMP. So that's a good thing. Everybody likes clean water, so that's why it's there.
Right. So backing up for a second, what has been your biggest surprise or unexpected outcome in working with landowners and carbon buyers about sustainable forest management?
How much they don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think NativState, specifically, we've got a huge job ahead of us, and we've done a pretty good job so far. Not just developing carbon credits and getting all these programs and all this stuff to market, but in educating these landowners. Yeah, landowners will probably sell timber, most landowners, once, maybe twice in their lifetime. So I wouldn't expect them to be very good at it. But when it comes to harvesting or hiring a contractor to do a certain activity on their land, they don't do it very often. So we have a great opportunity to provide education to that landowner in how's the most sustainable way to do that. Okay. Yeah, I know you could probably get your brother-in-law to come down here and do your prescribed burn. Well, is he going to adhere to the Arkansas fire law? Is he a qualified prescribed burner? Has he been trained? Probably not. Or you could hire a contractor that does and sleep at night in peace, knowing that it's done following all the laws and regulations that are in place. Okay.
Well, and to keep in mind, by doing that, the credits that are going to be generated off that land are under contract to be sold at a higher price. And we talk a lot about leaving a land legacy. This is all part of doing that as part of a forest carbon program.
When you get up in years, a few years, 60s, 70s, 80s, you start thinking about that stuff. You start thinking about, well, did I leave it better than I found it?
Right.
And that's important. Now, there's some people that don't care, but the majority of landowners, that's a big thing. And it's also kind of cool to go to your local hardware store or your local lumber supply and you see the little FSC stamp or the little SFI stamp on there and go, wow, that is, I know that wood, that lumber has been sustainably managed, and we didn't deforest half of Arkansas to get that 2x4 in the store.
Right.
So that's kind of feels good.
Yeah. Well, one final question just to wrap up. If there's one thought or a couple of thoughts you want landowners who are considering, forest carbon to know, what would you want them to know?
Forest carbon in general?
Or sustainable forestry, or all of it?
It's all kind of related. If you're considering forest carbon, I think the most important thing I've learned is that the methodology matters. And you're probably going to say, what are you talking about? How that carbon credit is developed is specified by a methodology. You must do this. It's kind of a cookbook, ABC. And there's a lot of methodologies out there. There's a lot of forest carbon registries out there. I can think of 2 or 3 off the top of my head. Do your homework and find out what's in that methodology, because that will make your carbon credit worth much, much more if you adhere to a higher standard of methodology than you will. For example, some methodologies do not require a plot-based inventory. So I can use technology, data sets, imagery to determine how much biomass, aka carbon, is out there. Or you can do like we do and do the ACR, which is the American Carbon Registry. We can do a plot. We can go visit your land, put a plot on that land, measure those trees in person, and then come back in 5 years and another 5 years and on and on and on to do the inventory. So that's just a difference in the two methodologies. That's the most important part. And these things are long-term. Most of these agreements are long-term. So obviously, be at peace with whatever decision you make, because it was going to affect you in probably 2 generations down the road. And of course, read the contract and, get all the fine print. That's important too. Yeah.
Right. All right. Well, Tim, once again, thanks for your time.
Sure.
And I'm sure we'll be talking more.
I look forward to it.
All right. Thanks.
Thank you.
Forest Matters is brought to you by NativState, the leading forest carbon development company for small private landowners. Learn more at nativestate.com.